All right, got another good public land hunt right here for you. I want to recap on it a little bit. So Lane, he filmed this one. I did a lot of self-filming on it, but Lane, he ended up getting some time off, and he came in there and he filmed it. But I had one big buck, and I kind of found this deer in later October, and I made a heck of a commitment to hunt him. I went in there and hunted him hard, and actually had 2 opportunities to kill that thing. I had him up in bow range once, and then I had him in gun range another time, and then I think he was the deer that I heard grunting at like 2:45 one day. So had 2 encounters for sure, I think 3, with that big deer that I was hunting there. But I had some more found. Another one that I ended up killing later, and he was just as tough. It was the same scenario. The deer would go in a place and absolutely would not come out in daylight hours. Had does in there, had food, water, everything that he could possibly need. So anyway, I had some scrapes that I was kind of monitoring and had a camera on them, and I checked that about every 2 days just to see in later November when that deer got up on his feet and started moving out of there. And I knew once I had a daylight picture of him, it was time to really get in there and hone in and try to find the sign I was looking for, and try to find where I could actually kill that thing. And he actually started making a little bit more sign after I think got some of the does bred. Anyway, I'll show you that later here on the video, how I got in there on that deer and actually figured out where to kill him. But stay tuned, check this one out. I think you're gonna like it. It's a pretty good video. Lane, he did a good job. He helped me hang stands, and helped me do a lot of things I couldn't do with the shoulder. Helped me out a lot. I'll throw it up to you. Oh. Did you get it? I got Lane hanging this stand for me right here. It's in quite the tree. I'm gonna do a hanging hunt this evening. I've helped him get those sticks together, and I'm gonna ease the stand up to him about halfway here in a second. I'm gonna get in this beech tree. Alright, I once again had to have Lane come in here and help me hang stand, but we got it in this tree. Things are starting to happen. The timing is right. The weather's gonna change a little bit here in the next few days. It's gonna get a little bit warmer. Let the hunt begin. Now I'm back in here again. I got a big buck in here. It's real windy. Got a south wind. It's shifting. It's been north, now it's south. Which I don't like that, because that big deer, I think he needs something blowing kind of with a north component to it off in this direction, because I'm pretty sure that's where he's staying and living. Anyway, wind's blowing a little harder. I'm in one heck of a junction right here. Got 3 scrapes in here. And they're just kind of, got 2 over here to my right, and then 1 out here to my left, and one where the hardwoods start. And I'm right here in this thick strip. It's really thick back here behind me, so I'm in a good spot as I can be in. I just gotta try to get in here as quiet as possible in the mornings, and ease out as quiet as possible in the evenings, and be patient. I think I'm in the spot, so we'll see what happens. He come through last night right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Get that glare off. Right there's the bed. That's a buck bed right there. That's a big deer. See that hair? I gotta keep going on around through here. There's no scrapes right in here. But right around there where my stand is where they start. And it's right there where all that comes together, so get on back in there and see if there's anything fresh. sitting there watching that squirrel. I'll zoom in on him. He may jump him here in a minute. Well, that bobcat was unsuccessful. There he goes, walking off. I had the old begging all over me yesterday evening. Problem was, he was with some does. And I'm hoping the scrape hunting hadn't come and gone, but it seems like it might have. We'll see. I'm gonna get in there this morning. We've got a pretty stiff wind, and it's a little bit cooler, kind of damp in there, and the moon is overhead. First 2 hours of daylight, so I'll get rigged up here, get all my gear on, and get right back in that tree. Get out of my scrape, you dang bear. Yeah, I see you. Get out of that scrape. Get out of my scrape. I got everything hitting that scrape except for a deer. I got a bobcat yesterday and a bear today. Come right to it, smell that estrus and put out in it. It's funny. But I will say this. Okay, yesterday evening, after that bobcat came to its scrape, it started getting later, and the big buck showed up. He come up behind me, up out of this hole down here, and topped out right here behind me, and some does come up out of there too. He started chasing does right out here about 40-45 yards to my left. I mean, he was standing 30 yards right here at me when he first walked up, and the does came up and sort of went a little bit lower than he did, and he started chasing him around, grunting until way after dark, and then they went over the hill. So I got close. I got close to the big one. Keep hanging in here. See if he shows up this evening. Get this off, get ready. In the hole down there to see if I could tell where that big buck was coming from that evening. I saw him. About, I guess it was 4 evenings ago. I was in there bow hunting. But I got up to some scouting. My knees hurting from walking down in that hole, so I came back out here.
where my stand was. I started easing around the hill and had a pretty big 6-point come walking through. I just crouched behind a pine tree and he walked by me about 20 yards. So that may just now be moving. I'm gonna go scout this out. That's what I'm looking for up there. That's actually fairly fresh right there. Shavings on the ground after all the leaves have fell. Probably right before this rain. I found my rub line. Come off of this steep ridge right here. I've been scouting all in here this morning. I found on the other side an old scrape and a lot of feeding sign in there, a lot of does. Had some smell me in there this morning, but I'm gonna be hunting somewhere around either side of this high ridge, down off on the side of it this evening. So I've been moving around, scouting in here, trying to figure something out, because the rut started now, and he's just, I don't know. I know he's probably still in here, because there's a bunch of thick stuff that these bucks are going in. And they're not coming out of it. They're going in there and staying all day long. And then when it gets dark, they're coming out, seeing lots of varmints and stuff like that. I saw a bear, bobcat, coyotes, 2 coyotes this morning. These bucks, that's what they're doing. And I'm thinking I was a little behind the curve on the scrape hunting. If I would have been in there in October, I had some things I had to do, had some stuff going, couldn't hunt. But I could have killed that big deer. I think after they breed these does, it should get a little bit better. They should start coming outside of some of these areas that you can't get to, and they're staying in during the day. I think they'll start moving and skirting the edges a little bit more when they start looking. I don't know if that's going to be a week off, 2 weeks off, how long it's going to be. I don't think it'll be too long, because I think they've been breeding does for a while. Anyway, I've been hunting over here all day for the last 2 days gun season. This 3rd day gun season. Been staying over here. I scouted yesterday, sat till about 12:30. Went back to the truck and ate some lunch, and then made a big round. Came back in here where I'm sitting now. I sit in this drain right down here below where I'm in this tree now. I was going to come get in this tree, but I heard a big it was the longest grunt I think I've ever heard. And I was working my way around to this stand, and I heard that, and I started trying to slip up and get closer. And I've never heard a grunt that loud and that long. And he did it probably 25 times, chasing that doe. It was about 175 yards at me. So, anyway, I slipped up and I saw that doe, but he wasn't with her. I don't know which way he went, but heard them this morning. They were in that thick stuff before it even got daylight, already moving back in. And then those coyotes came down the hill, so I'll hang in here. If nothing happens good, then I may switch spots in a day or two. I hate to leave here, though, because I've put a lot of time in on this one big deer. We'll see what happens.
That's something I look for right there. These does, their old tarsal glands will get dark, just like a buck, especially when they start getting in the scrapes and start getting ready. It's getting, a week from the rut. You'll start to see them darken up, and you see that tail flickering. That's what you need to look for when it give you an indicator when it's getting close. There's that right there. I've seen, I don't know how many of them do that. Of course, there was a buck in there chasing those does. Wasn't a mature bud, but. So me and Lane, we hunted that stand right there where the scrapes were. I don't know how many mornings. It wasn't just hunting the scrapes. I was hunting kind of between two bedding areas. And it was a good spot. It wasn't a bad spot, but it was just not the spot to kill that big 10 point. So every time we would leave out of there, we'd hunt till about, I don't know, close to noon, 11, 11:30. I had a picture of that deer coming out. That's what got me back in there looking. It was right at 11 o'clock. I think it was 10:59 when I had a picture of him. And we would get down and we would start scouting our way out each time, going a little bit different route. And I think it was I went in there one day, I was by myself, and I found a couple rubs. And they were, I don't know, 2 or 3 days old. And then we had a rain come in, and he went back in there and hunted with me. And I went out another way, just about 60 yards over from where I normally walk out, and found those fresh rubs. I mean, they were fresh. You could see that. You could see the shavings lay on the ground right there where that buck had horned them and strode them probably 2 or 3 foot from that hardwood tree that he was horning. Look at all this fresh on these leaves right here. It hadn't even rained on that. I mean, it's just, he's gouged it pretty good too. So he's over around here and see what else we can see. Anyway, I trailed those around there and ended up finding kind of where I thought he might be going in, but what it was, he was coming up, going 2 different directions according to the wind, I think. And then sometimes I don't even think he was going very far once he came up out of where I thought he was bedding. He was just making a short little loop and then going back in, staying next to the thickest cover. So I found that sign, and I told Lane, I said, we have got to make a move, and we've got to get in here, because this is the place to kill this big buck. And that's exactly what we did. We went in there and did a hang and hunt, and he helped me carry all the stuff in. He hung the stand, and I helped get everything set up and put together. And I told him, I said, man, we got to be quiet, because I don't know how far this deer is actually bedding. I mean, he may be close. He may be 200, 300 yards. He may be closer than that. Anyway, we got the stands hung. We did it as quiet as we possibly could. Did pretty good with that. We made pretty minimal noise, and got in the tree, got set up, got ready, sitting in there a little over an hour. And that deer was actually bedded probably between 100 and 125 yards from us the whole time. We heard that thing get up out of an old treetop and make all kinds of racket, and the squirrels, they went crazy. And I told Lane, I said, that's a deer getting up. It's probably a buck, probably him. And sure enough, he got up and started working his way up the hill towards us. And the wind was, for the most part, in his favor, and the thermals were in his favor too. So he's working his way up out of there, and I told Lane, I said, if he throws his head back and acts like he's winding at all, I'm going to shoot, because he can dive back in that and we'll never see him again. But anyway, he came up out of there, and he worked his way right up through there, and he got to the top, and he started grunting a few times, and I think he ended up grunting like 5 or 6 times. I don't know if you can hear it on camera, but he was out looking again. So right place, right move, got that deer on the ground.
Right there. Get there, boys.
God, we have hunted hard in here.
We did it. We just put this stand up an hour ago. We just put it up an hour ago.
Just put it up.
Hunted hard. Hey, give me some.
Thanks, buddy.
Mm-hmm. That was a good hunt.
That's unbelievable.
I don't think he...
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
That's definitely the biggest buck I've ever seen come through the woods.
Is it?
Yep.
This buck that I've been hunting will not come out of here. He will not come out of here. He has not come out of here, except for a few times in daylight hours. I mean, it has been tough to get this deer on his feet out of here. I mean, in daylight, it's just unbelievable how tough it's been. I could have went other places, I think, and hunted and killed bucks. I know I could with a bow. I've had this shoulder giving me trouble, but Lane, he finally got some time off and came in here and helped me move some stands around where they needed to be moved. And we finally got on this thing. We found those rubs that I was showing you on camera, where this deer went in. I'll cut this camera off, get down there before it gets dark. I mean, we're talking about an old deer right here.
I can't even put my hand around it. Can't even wrap my fingers around it.
Big body.
That's a big buck.
I'll have to talk about it later when I get him out of here, because it's we've got some dragging to do and some brush cutting to do to even get him out of this mess right here. It's so thick right in here. I mean, look right back through there. Video that right there.
Yeah, we're running out of daylight, but
All right, you seem pretty good.
yeah.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
This is what we're talking about when we're talking about mature deer. Right here. I mean, heavy, 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 heavy mass on that deer. I smell him too.
All right.
Come out there grunting. Thought we had a good path out of here and ended up coming up on the side of a ridge. We're heading in the right direction, but we got a little bit too far right. So we ended up going down this way and then cutting back across, and it was brushy. Just have to say it was brushy.